I still do that. Please elaborate. Hi, NBlessed303. Thank you so much for your comment. This comment is regarding the video I made about will continue to monitor, and honestly how a lot of nurses still document that, and also how it really seems to have the nursing profession in a chokehold. So I'm going to share 3 reasons in my perspective where I do not document will continue to monitor, and I also don't teach this when I'm teaching new grads how to document. The number 1 reason is that it can be deemed as double documenting, right? So whenever we say we'll continue to monitor, it is deemed as double documenting because if we're documenting in our flow sheets every single hour, or routine monitoring, all the interventions that we do, the dressings that we change, the medications that we administer, all the tasks that we're completing for the patient, if we're documenting those in real time and appropriately, it is showing that we are doing ongoing monitoring for this patient. It is showing that we are intervening appropriately, and it will also show that we are escalating any changes we find in the patient's condition. The second reason is that this is in the future tense. So will continue to monitor can be used if a physician wanted to use the statement against you to say, basically, you're predicting what will happen with the patient, and you're also taking responsibility for the future of what happens with your patient when you're not there. So according to the American Nurses Association and their standards for documentation, we should be documenting our care for the patient in real time or as soon as possible afterwards. So our documentation is to depict what we have done, the interventions that we have done, the escalations that we've brought forth, and the care that we have provided for the patient. However, when we document will continue to monitor, it is stating that you are going to do something in the future. And because we're not able to predict the future, we do not know what that future holds. However, we are beholden to the responsibility of that statement if and when something happens. So when we write will continue to monitor and hours after you leave or hours after you no longer have responsibility for the patient and the patient has a sentinel event or something like that, you possibly could be held liable or held partially responsible based on that statement because it is documented in a legal document that you will monitor this patient. So if this patient has a heart attack or if this patient has a fall that then results in a sentinel event, if that chart is taken to deposition, if the family wants to sue, a really savvy attorney can say, hey, nurse XYZ, you said we'll continue to monitor. So what was the patient's potassium? What was the patient's BUN and creatinine? Okay, what was the results of their duplex scan? You said you're monitoring the patient, so you're taking responsibility for all of that. That's the second reason. The third and final reason is that it is a very vague statement. So it is vague saying you will continue to monitor, but what are you monitoring? Are you monitoring for everything? And because it's so vague and expansive, it gives a lot of room for attorneys, for risks managers, for different persons to have different interpretation. It is very vague, it is not specific, and then thereby doesn't offer you the protection that we think that statement conveys.